All right, welcome everyone. We're about to dive deep into your AP World History Review for Unit 1, the Global Tapestry. We're looking at the world between about 1200 and 1450. This is a super important era, so let's get you ready to ace that exam.
Okay, just for a second, I want you to imagine your world with no internet. No texting, no instant anything. That's the world we're stepping into. But here's the twist. It was way more connected than you'd think. This whole unit is about uncovering those hidden threads of trade, belief, and power that were already starting to weave the world together.
So, why are we spending all this time on it? Well, because this unit makes up a solid 8 to 10% of your entire AP exam score. That's huge. If you can really nail the concepts we're about to cover, you're putting yourself in a great position.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start our world tour in East Asia with the Song Dynasty. Then we'll zip over to the Islamic world, down to South and Southeast Asia, across to the Americas and Africa, and we'll finish up in Europe. Then we'll pull it all together at the end. Ready? Let's go.
First stop, Song, China. And let me tell you, this wasn't just some run-of-the-mill empire. For its time, it was the economic and technological powerhouse on the planet, an absolute engine of innovation.
So what was the glue holding this incredible state together? Well, a big part of it was this idea called Neo-Confucianism. You can think of it as Confucianism 2.0. It took those classic ideas about social harmony and respect for authority, filial piety, and mixed in some spiritual ideas from Buddhism and Taoism. This created a super powerful belief system that basically legitimized the entire government structure.
And the economy? Whoa! It was an absolute game changer. It really kicked off with this amazing new type of rice from Vietnam, champa rice, which led to a huge population boom. From there, you get the world's first paper money, incredible iron production, a massive expansion of the Grand Canal for trade. It was this amazing upward spiral of growth and new tech.
Now, with all that power, China's influence obviously spread. But it wasn't just a simple copy-paste job. Look at this. Korea went all in, adopting a lot of Chinese systems. Japan, though, was much more selective. They picked and chose what they liked. And Vietnam? They took some things, but actively resisted others, especially when it came to culture, like foot binding. It just goes to show you, cultural exchange is always a conversation, not a command.
Okay, let's head west now, into what's known as the Dar al-Islam, or the House of Islam. This was this huge, sprawling civilization, all connected by a shared faith and bustling trade routes. But politically, things were getting pretty fractured.
So, as the old opposite caliphate started to crumble, new states popped up to fill the void, and one of the most powerful was the Mamluk Sultanate based in Egypt. Now, what's really important here is that the Mamluks were Turkic, not Arab. Their rise signals a major political shift in the Islamic world.
And the Mamluks have this incredible origin story. I mean, think about it. They were brought into the empire as enslaved soldiers, but they were so good at their jobs, so skilled militarily, that they eventually became more powerful than their masters. And when the opportunity came, they just took over. It's a perfect example of a theme you see all over world history: military might turning into political power.
But don't let the political drama fool you. Intellectually, the Islamic world was on fire. Scholars in places like Baghdad and in Al-Andalus, which is in modern-day Spain, weren't just saving old Greek philosophy. They were building on it, making incredible advances in medicine, mathematics, literature, you name it. It was truly a golden age of knowledge.
All right, let's set sail now into the warm waters of the Indian Ocean, to South and Southeast Asia. This whole area was this vibrant, buzzing crossroads of religion, culture, and most importantly, money flowing from maritime trade.
In this part of the world, geography was everything. You had two basic models for building a powerful state. On one hand, you have sea-based empires, like Srivijaya. They got rich and powerful by controlling key choke points in maritime trade. On the other hand, you have land-based empires, like the incredible Khmer Empire, who built their power on agricultural wealth, using their massive rice surpluses to build wonders like Angkor Wat.
Now we're going to jump across the major oceans to the Americas and Africa. These continents were developing massive, complex societies totally on their own terms, pretty much disconnected from the Eurasian world we've been talking about.
So, in the Americas, you have these two colossal empires, the Aztecs and the Inca, and they could not have been more different in how they ruled. The Aztecs ran a tribute empire. It was pretty decentralized. They basically told the people they conquered, just pay us in goods and we'll mostly leave you alone. The Inca, though, They were the exact opposite. Super centralized, with a powerful bureaucracy and a required labor service for everyone called the Midas system.
And Africa during this time was absolutely buzzing with powerful states, all plugged into these huge trade networks. You had the Swahili city-states on the east coast getting rich from Indian Ocean trade. Further inland, Great Zimbabwe controlled the gold routes. Over in West Africa, the Hausa kingdoms were crucial hubs for the trans-Saharan trade. And don't forget Ethiopia, a powerful Christian kingdom with its own extensive trade links.
And finally, we arrive in Europe. And, well, Europe is the odd one out in this period. While all these other regions are building these big, centralized states, Europe is going in the complete opposite direction. It's decentralized, fragmented, and divided.
The systems that defined Europe at this time were feudalism and manorialism. Politically, feudalism means power is all local. It's a web of personal loyalties between lords and vassals. Economically, you have manorialism, where most people are serfs, tied to the land they work, giving their labor to a lord in exchange for a place to live and protection. It's a very rigid, local system.
Now this slide, this is one of the most important comparisons you can make for this entire unit. Just look at the difference between the two ends of Eurasia. In the east, you've got centralized, bureaucratic, commercialized Song China. And in the west, you've got decentralized, localized, agricultural Europe. Understanding this contrast is absolutely key.
Okay, so we've done our whirlwind tour of the globe. Now it's time for the payoff. Let's start weaving all these different threads together and see what the big picture, the global tapestry, actually looks like.
All right, I want you to pause and screenshot this slide. Seriously, this is your ultimate cheat sheet for Unit 1. It breaks down every region by political structure, belief system, and economic driver. Use this to study, to practice making comparisons, and you will be so prepared for any essay question they throw at you. So if your brain is spinning, just focus on these 5 things. These are the absolute, must-know big takeaways from Unit 1. 1. Belief systems always back up the rulers. 2. States are built in all sorts of ways. 3. Trade is the engine of everything. 4. Song China was on another level. And 5. Europe was fragmented politically, but held together by Christianity. Got it? Good.
So I'll leave you with this final big picture question to think about. How did the way these societies were built, a centralized empire like the Inca versus a fragmented region like Europe, how did that set them up for the massive world-changing events that are coming right around the corner after 1450? That's the kind of thinking it's going to take your analysis to the next level. Thanks for watching.